Medical researchers in the United States are turning to smartwatches like the Apple Watch or Fitbit devices to help detect, track and contain COVID-19. Our Sunday morning tech expert, Djuro Sen, is going to take us all through that and, of course, talking about hazardous surf conditions. He's got the beautiful Maroubra backdrop there. But before we go into the smartphones, tell us about the technology that you're using to broadcast to us today, because in this new world we're coming on Skype and Zoom, but you've stepped it up a gear.
Good morning to you, Tim. Great to see you on a Sunday. Yes, I'm using what's called a Live View app, and many television networks use Live View boxes. Basically, they bond different cell signals together, so a number of SIM cards gives you a lot of bandwidth going up, and that way you're pretty close to broadcast quality. And sometimes if you want better quality, you build a little bit of a delay, and I'm on actually a 2-second delay here. But I've got my own camera set up, and I just plug it into a capture card that goes into a MacBook, and presto, it goes to you because at the back end of Sky, they've got the big Live View set up, and I'm just providing my up source from here, and I'm looking at it over there and it looks great. So I'm coming to you from Maroubra Beach in 720p, crystal clear, which is a little bit better than Skype is usually pumping out.
You and your little bunker. I tell you what, you've become your own broadcast network, Djuro Sen. Tell us about these smartwatches.
Well, as you said in the introduction, it's pretty important to see how wearables, and you can see a few of them on the desk here. I've got the Apple Watch here. There's a new Fitbit Charge 4 here as well. That organisations like Scripps, it's a medical organisation in the United States, and I know Stanford's doing as well. They're collecting data from wearables, your sleep patterns and your heart rate, and using it not only to work out what's going on with COVID-19, but they've got some evidence that suggests that they can predict what is going to happen in flu season as well. So these smartwatches are doing what phones can't do, and that's measure your sleep, measure your heart rate, and by bringing that all together, these organisations are able to then make predictions about you're starting to increase your heart rate, your sleep's bad, and that's happening in a group or a cluster. Then they can work out what's going on ahead of time, in real time. All you have to do is sign up for it. It is anonymous data, so they don't know who you are, but they do know the locations. And so I think this is going to be the game changer moving forward, and I think wearable technology is going to be the way that we end up getting better information about these epidemics or these pandemics.
App on our phones.
So the differences here are that the app on the COVID Safe app that Australia's got, and it'll be sort of officially firing up next week after a few glitches, that is just logging and tracing of you meeting someone else and then later on being reported. So it's just basically finding out if you've come into contact with someone with the virus and getting you notified later on, which is a good thing. But what's different about this situation is that it's telling everyone how we feel. So it's about, and you could probably build temperature in at some point too, as these watches become more sophisticated, but it's telling you how you feel and where the clusters are happening. So it's in real time. So the other one is a delayed response. This is immediate, and it's getting your personal biometric data, which includes sleep patterns and, of course, how your heart rate's going. And apparently, if you are starting to get the onset of this, your heart rate increases, Tim.
Well, we need to get our heart rate going, particularly guys like yourself and I, who are not over the hill, but we need to keep active. The other benefit to smartwatches in a lockdown is they keep reminding you to move.
That's huge. And you mentioned the studio I've got here, Tim. I could easily go in at 7 a.m. and walk out at 7 p.m. and not even see the sun. And I find that my watch regularly reminds me of the Apple Watch, the Fitbit as well. There's a new watch here, this Sunto 7, which is interesting as well. They remind you that, hey, it's time to get up. So although that can be a pain if you're driving and it's telling you every 2 hours that you've got to stand up, a bit hard when you're in the car, it is really handy for us. So I know that everyone's at home and get stuck into work, and it's very easy, Tim. You know, everyone's got a family member who, like myself, can get stuck in front of their computers and not move for hours. So I think it's really good to make sure you keep yourself moving, because, you know, standing up beats one of the terrible things for our bodies, which is sitting down for hours.
Yeah, absolutely. And finally, DJI's new consumer drone. It's pretty smart.
Oh, how smart is this? I think it might even be smarter than you, Tim, just quietly.
Absolutely.
But that doesn't mean that it's not an insult by anyway, because this is really smart. This thing is incredible. It's the DJI Mavic Air 2. It shoots in the cinematic lingo 4K 50p or 60p in America, and it's got sensors all over it on the bottom and the back and the front. Hasn't got on the side, but it also in America will come with an AirSense functionality, so it will know when aircraft are close to them, this sort of drone. Now, that's not available in Australia yet because of the radio signals that planes need to send out, but I cannot wait to see how that works in Australia eventually, because it's all about making these drones safer. Now, this thing does amazing things, tracking you, all sorts of stuff, automated stuff. That means that even the most incompetent pilot could actually fly this and get a really good job done. And you can do 8K time lapses where it moves along and then you see a time lapse on it. It's just really, really cool. And a 48 megapixel photo you can get out of as well. So the DJI Mavic Air, not cheap because of the price in the Americas, much cheaper than what we get, but you're looking at about $1,700, close to $2,000 for the unit, because you want to get a second battery. But that's it, the DJI Mavic Air, and it is going to be under heavy demand soon, and I think videographers, people in the TV industry will like to have a look at this one as well, Tim.
Yeah, it looks almost big enough to take passengers. Djuro, look, you dazzle me with your technology. How you're coming out of your little place with that great signal. Go to Image Matrix. I know you're on all the social medias, but good to talk to you this morning.
Great to talk to you, Tim. Speak to you next time.